And we are live. Welcome, coaches. We are both live. This is the first, coach. You were the first one to ever do this. I'm going live on both Facebook and YouTube at the same time.
Technology is a beautiful thing, man.
I love it. I stumbled across this software that allows me to do this. So, coaches, if you have any questions, I'm here with the amazing PJ Gibbs. We're going to talk about the 4-3 defense and everything about that. But before we get into that, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. We will answer them in this showcast. Also, if you have to, there's a link. Click it. Give Facebook and YouTube access to see your face and to use it because I can bring your questions on live. Coach, for those coaches that don't know why you are a phenomenal defensive coordinator and how I'm glad I don't have to face you because that would be, a horrible, horrible ordeal for me. Tell the coaches a little bit about yourself.
Sure. We start my 21st fall. When we get started here in Florida, right now we're slated to start August 24th. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that nothing changes. I've been around a lot of good people. I've been taught by a lot of good coaches. I started my coaching career at my alma mater, Manasquan High School in New Jersey back in 2001. Right out of college, I played my college football at St. Peter's College in Jersey City, which was a small MAC conference school at the time. And most of those schools have dropped the football programs, but it was a pretty cool little conference to be in when we were there. So I started coaching linebackers and started coaching for my head coach, who's a Hall of Famer in New Jersey, Coach Vic Caboo, and got the opportunity to coach for guys that I had played for. And it kind of streamlined from there. Got my first coordinator job in 2006, working for another Hall of Fame coach in New Jersey, Joe Martucci at Matawan High School, and was there for 3 years and then came home, went back to Manasquan, where I eventually became the coordinator in 2011 and got to work 1 year with the high school teammate of mine who took a job at a larger school in New Jersey in 2014 and decided that New Jersey was a little bit too expensive for us, and we were kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And my brother-in-law at the time was a defensive analyst for Coach Pinkel at Missouri, and he was recruiting down here on the west coast of Florida. And he just said, "Hey, man, I knew because my goal was to stay at Manasquan and be the head coach and kind of live my days out there and just get that done." And Justin, we go on family vacation every year out of Lake Kiwi in South Carolina. And so he was like, "Hey, man, I know you're not looking to move, but if you want to, there's like 7 high schools in this county that are looking for teachers and coaches." And, I just said, I talked to my wife about it. My in-laws had just moved down in the area. So I said, why not? I'll send my resumes out. And, fast forward to April of 2015, I come down, I interview, I get offered 2 jobs and get hired at Gulf Coast High School. And we packed the 3 and the 1.5-year-old up with everything and, moved down here and was at Gulf Coast for 3 years. One cool thing about being down here on the west coast of Florida is a lot of the high schools are newer high schools. So like Gulf Coast was built in 1998 and we were part of a really good staff. And we won the first district championship in the history of the school back in 2016. And I was there for 3 years, and now I'm at Palmetto Ridge, which will be my 3rd year, and there, and we're looking forward to some big things, from our team this year.
Okay, all right. Well, how was that transition for your kids going all the way from up north all the way down south?
I think we moved at the right age. My daughter, it's funny. I still can't believe it. She turned 9 on Tuesday. And my son turned 6 in April. And, we moved when they weren't really in school yet. They really hadn't established any kind of friendships or relationships or anything like that. So I think we did it at the right time because, my son's 1.5 and, he don't know.
He don't know nothing.
He don't know anything. He just knows he's in a car and he's getting fed food and getting his diaper changed. And, my daughter, she knew she was coming down to see her grandparents. And we knew that we didn't have to worry about snow anymore. That was one good thing that we didn't have to worry about. So, but it was difficult transition at first, just because of wanting my wife to stay home and raise the kids, and so I went out and did what I had to do for those first couple of years as far as working. I was a bar back, I was a waiter, all year round, and I tutoring and things like that to make ends meet. But you're a husband and a father before anything, and you got to make sure that the mortgage is taken care of and that there's food on the table.
Yeah, I hear you, man. That's Kudos, sir. And we got some coaches in here. Coaches, how are you doing? Again, if you have any questions, go ahead, put them in the chat. We got Coach Williams. This is what I love. Coach Williams, how you doing, sir? We got a coach from Mexico. Can't see the name, so go ahead. If you're on Facebook, click that link. Let StreamYard get permission. I'm curious about defensive coaches. Now, you fall in the 4-3 camp. Have you always been 4-3, or were you formerly a 3-4, and then you were like, oh, you've seen the way, and then you went to 4-3? What's your history with that?
Well, I played in the 4-3 in high school. My head coach was very good friends with Coach Welsh at the University of Virginia. So a lot of the stuff that we did at Manasquan was based off of what Coach Welsh and Al Golden, when he was there, and Mark D'Onofrio and those guys. I was brought up in the 4-3. And all I really knew, was the 4-3. Up until probably, I would say probably my first year as a coordinator, I started kind of branching out and kind of looking at some 3-4 stuff. And, I got an opportunity to meet when I was a young coach, Coach Don Brown at the University of Michigan.
Oh, nice.
Coach Brown actually did both the forwards for my books. And, I've known him since I was 24 years old. And I kind of emulate my style off of him and the stuff like that with the pressures and things like that. So raised in the 4-3, but have branched off to kind of what best fits the personnel, that year, that we have.
Okay. All right. And that makes sense now that you kind of fall under Coach Brown's philosophy, because you which we'll talk about, bring the funk in the defense. And another thing, I don't understand why more defensive coordinators don't do that, especially at the high school level. I've seen a lot of them that play that read and react, sit back and let the offense kind of do what they want and bend but don't break. And I am fine with that when I'm calling plays. It's those, I'm going to get in your face, or I'm going to bring different pressures and have different coverages behind it that make me lose sleep at night. So what do you think that is? Why are not that many defensive coordinators at the high school level bringing the pressure?
I think a couple things. Early on in my career, and that's how I was taught was, we played 2 read, to 10 personnel. We got motion trips. We went to cover 3. We played some quarter to 21 personnel. If we got, pro twins, we'd go to cover 3, So, we really only pressured down inside the red zone, kind of like how I was taught. And I think it's how you're brought up. I also think it's your personality. I think the defense will take, and the kids playing that defense will take on your personality. So, our defense, and even when I was at, Gulf Coast and then, in New Jersey, that my last stint at Manasquan, it's kind of like I'm almost in a sense where, I want to challenge, like you said, I want to challenge the offense. Mm-hmm. But also I want my kids to have that mentality where, we're going to take it to you. We're not going to sit back and let you dictate to us, what you're going to do, especially with the RPO game, the way it's become, and the air raid and things like that. And just like anything, as a defensive coach, you have to be like a relief pitcher in baseball. Like if you call something and you get beat, you tip your hat to the offensive guy, and you got to get ready. Yeah, you got to get ready to get after again. So I think the kids will be a reflection of you as the coordinator. And we have that, with our mentality and our culture at Palmetto with the black shirt defense. We kind of have that mentality that, teams that are coming in are going to be in for a rough night, quarterbacks and OCs included.
Good. I like that. And I like what you just said. Sometimes, I'm the same way on offense. Sometimes the defense does something and you can't get mad. They're smart over there too. I hate to say that, but on the other sideline, they know their stuff as well. You just go, hey, great play, man. That was a good one. Well, let's go to the next one.
Yep. No doubt. And like, I think, I think as you get more into this, as you gain more experience, like I know as a younger coach, you're full of so much, just fire and enthusiasm and
you know it all.
My guy's not going to get beat, and then when they get beat, you get all fired up, and it's like now it's more like, okay, well, we need to coach that technique better. We got to work on this run fit a little bit better. Where like when I remember being 26 and getting my first DC job and running around like a maniac, you know what I mean? Just because that's just you're excited, and now you're more cerebral as you get into it, because you're trying to figure out how to fix things as opposed to just, using your passion and your energy. The kids know you're passionate about the game. It's just now they look for you for adjustments and things like that, as opposed to being a younger coach where they may need that extra lift.
And I think now I'm the same way. This is my 11th year. I feel like I'm a little bit mellower and I'm telling more whys. Like, okay, you got beat there. Why'd you get beat? Instead of just screaming, and using all those awful coach euphemisms like catch the ball or block somebody. Now it's like, okay, you dropped that pass because you took your eye off of it.
Yep.
Or you missed that tackle because you weren't looking, whatever it is, tackle. It's not that difficult. You defensive guys make things a little bit. Just kidding. All right, we got Coach Parker in the house. How you doing, sir? We already got our first question, if you don't mind. Someone from Facebook, what's your COVID practices look like?
So for us, we just finished up week 7 in our off-season program. So we have been going Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:30. And we basically we're allotted 10 hours a week. How we want to use those 10 hours is up to us. The hours don't start until we actually physically begin some type of conditioning. So we have 3 groups. We get it's 15 players per coach. So, obviously we can have 2 coaches. We can have 30 players in a group. We follow all the CDC, all the county guidelines with the, the mask and things like that. When they're engaged in activity, they don't need it. So we basically, like today, for example, we didn't do any football per se. We had a group in the sand. We have a sand pit. We have a practice field for conditioning, and then we had the weight room, and then we rotated. We had 40-minute sessions, and we rotate. Yesterday, the day before, we did install, we did individual, and then we did and then we lift. So we're lifting 4 days a week, and it's good because we did miss spring football. So I actually don't mind a little extra time down here because it gives our kids more time to kind of get acclimated to to the sport. But we're slated to start August 24th, first day in helmets, crossing our fingers that nothing changes, and that's kind of how we're doing it.
Okay. Have y'all had any cases on your team or of players that their parents or anything like that? So y'all have dodged that bullet.
We've been, thank God we've dodged it, and kids that have not felt well have not come. Even if it's like, we told them, well, our first week was just no movement. So week 1 of 7 was just 1 hour. It was 60. It was phase 1 was 60 minutes. We put them into their group 1, 2, and 3, and then they just stayed where they were at for an hour, just conditioned for an hour. They have a half hour to get there. So we start at 8. From 7:30 to 7:59, we check them in with their temperature, the questions about, all the other stuff. And then we have to turn those papers in at the end of the week to our principal so we can give them to the, downtown office. Okay.
Are y'all able to use balls now and everything like that? Or
as long as they're wearing, so the thing is, as long as they're wearing gloves.
Oh, wow. Do y'all have to wipe the balls down as well?
If they're not wearing, so if they're not wearing gloves, just to give you an idea how crazy, and again, you're never really prepared for any of this stuff, right? This is like marriage. There is no handbook for this thing, right? So we have kids on our team that are, economically struggling. So we have 2 of my secondary kids, their parents work in the medical field. So they brought a bunch of latex office gloves for the kids that didn't have the football gloves. So kids that didn't have football gloves were going around with those doctor gloves on. Nice. So, and then they just got rid of them at the end of the session.
Wow. I know we finally were able to use balls this week. We got pushed back again to September 8th is when we could start, fingers crossed.
Yep.
But the ball, every time someone catches it, we have to wipe it down.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have like 8 balls.
Yep.
We use all 8. Once all 8 get used, the kids catch it, do their thing, come back, drop it on a towel. When all 8 are there, then I pause it and I spray the balls down and I wipe them. So we're going 8 at a time. I don't know if we have anything about the gloves though. I like that. I'm gonna have to bring that up.
I would say ask your AD, because that's what I did, because secondary stuff, footwork's footwork, but we need to I need to be able to say who can catch. Yeah. So I was like, so can I wear a glove and throw it? And if the kids have gloves, we don't have to wipe it. He goes, absolutely. I was like, done.
Nice.
So that's it.
I like it. All right, we got Irons. He's saying, "Hey, Coach McKie and Gibbs in chat. How you doing, Irons? What's going on?" We got a guy singing your praise, which you do. Coach Gibbs has some great stuff.
Appreciate that, man.
All right, we got get after their ass, baby. I understand. Yeah, that's all you have to do on defense. That's all you have to do. Coach Flynn, how you doing, sir? You doing all right? I'm telling you what, man. I know this isn't about football, but I love this program. Just bring up the comments and everything like that. All right, I want to get to game planning because I'm always curious about how defensive coaches they game plan. So you come in, let's say you're facing me, right? Okay. You come in on Saturdays or Sundays, whenever that is. Walk me through your process. Like, what are the top 3 things you're trying to do if you're facing a team that likes to throw the ball or something like that, just your normal team?
So first thing I'll look at is your quarterback.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I want to see tendencies. Like I want to see, how he throws the intermediate route. I want to see how he throws the deep ball. I want to see his shoulder. Like, so in other words, like, most high school quarterbacks, when they're going to throw deep, that back shoulder is going to dip because they want to get that weight transfer to get the ball out. So I'll look at that. I'll look at your favorite route combinations, and then I'll look at I'm a big formation guy, so like I'll look at balance formation in the boundary, and I'll look at all that, and we'll have all that stuff on our huddle, and then we'll just break down the percentages, and then I'll look at then the last thing I'll really look at, because what pressures we're going to attack you with, I'll look at how you're blocking things. How much RPO are you running, and then what we'll do is we'll try to attack the weak spot in the offensive line. We're fortunate, man. I mean, these kids this year are going to make me look like I know what I'm doing. We got two. I got two Power 5 kids in my secondary, and a kid and he's in our middle safety is a Group 5 kid. You know what I mean? And our hybrid Viper kid is going to be. He has 2 Power 5 offers as a tight end. He's 6'5", 220.
No fly zone. That's what you're going to call your secondary.
I just, you know what I mean? Like so we'll look at that, and then obviously I'll look at, if you have 1 dude, 2 dudes, like, what receiver do you like to throw to the most? Who's your go-to guy on 3rd down? Cause we may have to bracket him and bring pressure and, just things like that. But, we'll go into a game probably we'll go into the Monday practice with probably between 8 to 10 pressures.
Okay.
And then we'll cut it down to like 5 or 6 by Wednesday.
Okay. I like that. And we got a question from Coach Flynn. He, how do you game plan if you don't have any film? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is like, in New Jersey, we played on Saturdays. We had no lights.
Oh, wow.
My head coach hated lights. So we had no lights. Saturday afternoon. It was cool, man. It was like playing in the 1950s, bro. It's awesome. So, we would go out and scout on Friday night and get, and we'd film the team that we're playing, and we'd send other coaches out to other places, other games. So what I do is I keep a folder of every team that we've played. And this is something I got from my head coach and my DC in high school in my file cabinet. So if you come into my classroom at Palmetto Ridge, I have a folder from 2015 to last year of every team that was ever on our schedule. Because if that were to happen, you already have an idea of, okay, well, there's no coaching change. All right. So now this guy basically is going to be 11 personnel or is going to be 10 personnel. And you already have an idea of what you're going to see. The thing that would stink, though, is like if they did get rid of that guy, and then what you have to do is, okay, well, where was he last year? So just do your research on the guys that are the head coaches, and then kind of see what they've done. But I've been in a situation where we haven't had, film on something, and we just go to those folders and we look at I keep my call sheet, I keep my scouting report, I keep my tendency breakdown, I keep our scout cards. So, I mean, wow. I have everything in those folders.
Okay. And what happens if you have that folder and then a new staff comes in, like a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach? Do you just forego that, or do you go back and be like, okay, at least they'll have the same personnel? So
yeah, I mean, we'll look at the roster to see who they got coming back, but I'll do the research on the new guy coming in, because generally here in Florida, it's a guy that's been either, it's been on the East Coast, or he's been, Central Florida. I mean, I mean, we may get guys that come down from, I mean, they ain't come down from Georgia. They're making too much money. They ain't come down here.
Everyone's leaving Florida.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we'll do our research on that guy. And then we can, hey, he was at, John Smith High School last year. So we'll get on Huddle and look at John Smith High School's, highlights. So we kind of know what, basically what we can do to line up to his basic stuff and just line that up and then, see if we can get anything from anybody else in the area.
Okay. All right. And Coach Flynn says thank you for that. You said first off, when you played in the 4-3, what position were you? Because I played the 4-3 as
I played middle linebacker.
I did too. Right there. Now, what were your reads when you played? Did you key the bat? Like, okay, let's back up a little bit. What are your reads in your defense? Or what are you teaching your linebackers to read? Is it to the back? Are you reading guards? Or do you change it each week?
I mean, so what I read was, because I was always in a strong 10 unless I was blitzing. Mm-hmm. We'd read our triangle. We'd read center, guard to near back.
Yeah.
And everything was always spilt to me. So I was always A-gapped over the top because everything was always that buck linebacker and that will linebacker were always going to spill everything. So I knew if the A-gap closed, I knew I was reading flow. I knew I had to get, over top to the C-gap real quick. Our guys now, I've just, basically a 4-2-5 is a 4-3 just with an extra DB in there anyway. So they were basically the same thing. They were keying their linemen, and linemen in near back. And, we see so much zone, so we're really teaching zone as like down blocks now. Because high school, it's really not – it's not like watching Alex Gibbs' offense, right? The Broncos or the Falcons where it's really hard freaking –
they're here and then moving vertical.
High school is like down, and then, gap closed because that 4-eye or whoever's going to close that down and we'll work over the top. So yeah, we're kind of very, very similar to what we did at Manasquan.
Okay. So you said that y'all, when you played, you were lean back, sit back, react, and all of a sudden, what made you switch to bring more funk? Was it your relationship with Coach Brown and the way he taught it? You're like, that makes sense and something clicked, or did something happen in your playing or your coaching when you just started out? They're like, you know what, we need to bring the funk a little bit more.
I think Coach Brown had a lot to do with it. Speaking with him when he'd come in and recruit, just kind of sitting at him, getting on the whiteboard with him when he'd come down and recruit from UMass or Northeastern when he was there. I think a lot of it for me was, seeing the guys we had. I mean, we had some really good kids, and we were a small school in New Jersey. We were like, 1,100 students, but we got athletes. And I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, man, we could do more than just do this and kind of force the issue because, I just, again, a younger coach, more aggressive, and wanting to put our kids in a position to make plays and kind of giving guys, kind of ownership to do things and to kind of expand their knowledge as well as mine, kind of teach the kids the game. And, that was kind of my switch is just, meeting with coach. And then all of a sudden, boom, it was like, hey, we can do this. It's not overly complicated. Like we can run this pressure. And then like personnelling things, like we had I think my last year at Manasquan, we had a middle linebacker that was actually one of our best pass rushers. And we had a package where he went to end and we moved our strong side linebacker who actually he just got done. He graduated at UVA. He just played at Virginia for 4 years as a tight end. He's about 6'6". And we moved him in the middle in case they wanted to throw any kind of crossing routes.
Just knocks it down.
Let John rush and let Tanner just sit there with his albatross wingspan, But I think it comes back to putting your kids in the right position. And again, like we talked about in the beginning, I think it's the personality that you have as a coach because the kids are going to take that on. They're going to take on that. We're going to challenge you. Like I'm going to be up in your face, and the kids know, like during Monday, like when we have our scouting sessions, they're like, Coach, what are we bringing this week? What overload are we bringing this week? What are we doing this week? So it's pretty fun to get them excited and to get their juices flowing the right way.
Okay. Do you use the same blitzes and stunts from week to week? Or are you drawing up something new every week to attack the offense that you're facing that week?
So like right now, obviously because we've had 7 weeks of off season. We basically have everything in. So right now we have our 2 base fronts. And right now we have nine pressures, and we need to get 2 more. So we'll have 11 pressures going into the season. I will look at what ones fit for the week, but that doesn't mean that because of the guys we have and the way we can cover, we may add one in, something new, just based on blocking scheme and pass protection and things like that to put our guys in a good situation and put stress on the offense.
What have you figured out because you're a data guy, when you attack an offensive lineman, do you have usually it's a guard or the tackle, or is it mixed up from week to week? Which one do you find on the offensive line that is the weakest one that you seem to be attacking the most?
To be honest with you, we over the last 2 years, we've really attacked the center the most.
Why's that?
We have 15 different pressures out of the double A gap mug look. So for me, we put that stuff in by week 3, and we'll show everything by week 4. And so now as an offensive guy, you see that look, you got to get ready for 15 different things. And to me, now you're not only putting stress on the guy snapping the ball to the quarterback, you're now putting stress on the quarterback because now he sees 2 dudes that may be coming at him or may not be coming at him or both be dropping. I don't know what we're going to do. We may go to Bed Bath Beyond. I don't know if I have enough time. You know what I mean? To me, we'll look at the center, and then I generally like to attack a man side protection as opposed to the zone side, because I like overloading that side more, because high school running backs,
yeah, they're awful.
In 21 years, I've really found maybe a handful that actually like to block.
Yeah, I agree. That's why ours is always out.
Unless they're in a wing tee, because the wing tee backs don't block, they don't get the ball. So that's the thing with the wing tee.
Yeah. All right, we got some more questions. Coach Parker, how often are you bracketing a wide receiver or playing 2-man on a wide receiver? How do you determine when these coverages are necessary?
Coach Parker, that's a great question, man. So we actually just put our doubles coverage in 2 days ago. I will look at down and distance and formation. So me personally, I'd rather bracket their top receiver. So for example, let's say we're facing a team that likes to go open 3-by-1. Well, that one guy's there for a reason. He's probably the dude. So we're going to bracket the dude. And then usually in the 3, the slot is the guy. So I'll look at, break down what they're doing, and I want to take away their 2 best receivers, and then I'm going to come up with a pressure, whether it's a 4-man rush or a 5-man rush, to make the quarterback do this more. And then if they're doing that more, then we're gonna win that down. So how do I determine it is I'll play 2-man on 3rd and 15 plus, and then we'll probably end up twisting the line. Or if we're in our 3-down stuff, moving the line and bringing somebody off the edge. That way we're still covering with 7. With the double stuff, we can rush 3 and put the linebacker to the backside on the back, and then put the other linebacker to spy the quarterback in case he gets happy feet.
Okay. Do you have a lot of quarterbacks that are more happy feet, or in your conference or region, or are they more pocket passers?
I would think, this year, if we play the schedule that we're going to play, we have a lot of athletic kids on our schedule. We have a lot of guys that like a sprint out. Not so much if they're getting the ball in the gun, the ball's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like the press technique. We start everything in 2 high press. So you don't know whether we're in press bail 3, cover 1. We play mod at a press with a bubble alert. So coach, if you gave us 10 personnel,
mm-hmm.
and we're pressing and we got the bubble by 2, the corner's going to take the bubble and the safety's going to rob 1. So, but it's 2 press. So the safeties, if they see 2 detached, they're going to make a bubble alert to the corner. So the corner knows that bubble's coming. They're going to take it. So yeah, we see. I mean, there's a ton of it. It's just athletes down here, man. That's the biggest difference from New Jersey. New Jersey, we'd get one. I
think he froze. Coach, you there? Can Can
you?
you freezing up on me? Let me. Technology. You're freezing. All right. While he's doing that, though, is everything else all right? Am I still live? That's what I want to know. Right now, I just sent Coach a text. We will see. But right now in the comments, I want to know: would you rather face a 4-3 or a 3-4? Because personally, I like going against a 4-3 defense that is not disciplined. I hate playing against a 3-4 defense that is, a 4-3 defense that is disciplined, because that's just, especially when you have those war daddies inside, those defensive tackles, and they are demanding two freaking double teams. I can't stand that. You let that middle linebacker run free, and he is just wrecking shop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get Coach back through Twitter. So, okay, Agent, I appreciate it. Christopher, I'm still live. Good. Hold on. There it is. Boom. Send them back. That is probably refreshing. What I also want to know is, okay, do you, in the 4-3, do you put the apex guy, if you got too high, do you put the apex guy to the field or to the back or away from the back? There he is. What's up, Coach?
Back.
All right. We missed you, man.
Baby. I'm back, baby.
All right, so go ahead. What were you saying?
I have no idea.
I don't either. All right, well, we've got another question from Facebook. What's your favorite coverage versus 4 verts and the flood out of 3x1?
Okay, so I'll give you the 4 down answer, and I'll give you the 3 down answer. So our 4 down check to 3. So like our offense runs that cover 3 beater all the time. Whether it's from a tight end 3x1 or open 3x1, we'll make a flash call. So that means that backside safety. So basically, it turns in it's 2 read on 1 and 2. So the corner will take 1, the safety will take 2. That backside safety will rob 3 vertical, and the backside corner is locked, and that linebacker to the backside to the single receiver side will be locked on him. We get a wheel route or anything like that. If we're getting flood out of our 4 down stuff, that roll coverage that Nick Saban uses, we call it roll. It's still too high, so our corner will, again, we'll start out press too high, so our corner will undercut 1 and become the flat defender. We'll roll the 2 safeties over the corner, and then we'll lock up that backside single receiver. So the corner will be that high-low player on the out, make the quarterback throw the flat. And then we have the middle of the field covered, and then we have the street covered. The Iowa State 3 down stuff that we're looking to go to is so basically we're going to be Tampa 2. There will be 3 over 2 to the 2 receiver in the trips, and the rover, that middle safety, will have 3 control, and then we're trapping or inverting to the single receiver side. So, but we're starting everything at a too high look. So that's how I played it in the past, because if you play cover 3 to that, especially today's offense, they're going to see single high safety, man, and they're going to read that free safety, and he can't be right. So that was our biggest issue in preseason last year. I'm like, you know what, the heck with this, man. We're playing backside robber. I'm tired of getting freaking burnt by our offense.
Yeah, I agree. And really, at 3x1, if you keep those 2 highs and you just freaking just push them over, man, that really messes with high school quarterbacks, because they don't see that movement. They always see pre-snap, but post-snap movement, you have to have a special dude back there that can see that, then account for linebackers blitzing and where do you put your eyes and all of that stuff. So that's a good adjustment. I like that. We have another question. Usually when the corner plays bail technique, the wide receiver targets the near hip and attacks the blind spot. How do you avoid this situation?
Well, our corners, when we play our press bail 3, basically I tell them that they're going to be head up alignment. they're gonna. I don't even want to say jam with their outside hand. I mean, they're just there. They just want to kind of just let them know they're there. I mean, and literally they run. They are out in the third. So we really never run into that. To me, we have a head start on the go route, because if you think about it from a receiver's perspective, they see press man. They're going to go back to they want to do the dance, right? They want to give you this and that. So while they're doing that, we already have a 5-yard head start. So we really never run into that blind spot deal, because our guys are out of there. I mean, literally, it's like here, gone, here, gone, or the other side corner, here, gone. Because again, we play Tampa 2, we play press bail 3, we play man free, we play cover 0, all out of the same look. So I think for us, that puts us as an advantage, because now you got that receiver thinking, well, hey man, I got to get to this post, but this guy's in my face. So what am I going to do? I got to try to fake outside and come back underneath. Well, you fake outside, come back underneath, that corner's gone.
Yeah, he's out. So you just wasted all that time. So
that's why I think what we do, I think helps our guys out a lot. We had 2 corners last year. One was a first-time corner, and the other one was like our most improved player, and it really helped them on a lot of the vertical stuff that we saw, shots downfield.
Okay, I like that. A lot of the coaches were telling us that we were talking about New Jersey athletes compared to Florida athletes, and how Florida athletes are a lot better. To me, Florida is almost right there with Texas in terms of just the quality of athletes in school.
I think so. I wish the coaching stipends match Texas.
Me too.
But I'm sure my wife does too. But I mean, I got to coach with when Deion Sanders came, here last summer, when he brought his son in their 7-on-7 team, and I got to coach the 2-3-9 team, help out with the 2-3-9 team, and we were right there, with the kids from Texas. If you break it down, I think I did the number the other before we lost spring football. A Florida football player in high school will get anywhere between 300 to 400 more reps than a New Jersey high school football player in his high school career.
Why is that?
Because there's no spring football.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you think about it, right? So, when I was coaching in New Jersey, we couldn't start our quote unquote practice until the day after track was over, which was generally in the middle of June. By the time we hit middle of June here, we've had 19 practices in a game.
So let me ask you, have you had to cut things out or simplify further than what you do now because of no spring ball?
Not really. We've had really good attendance. We had 72 kids there today.
Wow.
I mean, most of the defense has been there. I can't say enough about the kids' commitment, man. I mean, they've been there. They've been on huddle, looking at the playbook, looking at the install, and no, we haven't cut anything out. I mean, we slowed things down a little bit for some of the crossover guys and things like that. But other than that, we're full steam to August 24th.
And how long does it take for you to install everything?
It depends on the kids really and their learning curve. When I first got there, because they were an odd front and did some funky things, it was really hard the first couple of weeks, because it was I really had to go back to basics. I really had to teach them fundamentals and tackling and gap responsibility. So they went from like a 3-down, like blitz everywhere defense to now you're a 4-down gap control defense with some pressure, but you still have a gap regardless if you're blitzing or not. It was teaching them that accountability piece and not leaving their teammate hanging. And if you don't do this, that guy's gonna be left hanging, and that's your teammate. So that was kind of the first year was the longest install. But after that, I mean, because I think out of the 11 starters on defense my first year, I had 8 back last year. So there really was no learning curve. And now this year we've simplified things and we're more athletic than we were the year before. So we're playing a lot faster because the kids understand it.
I like that. And I also like this hat on a hat, no gap.
There you go. I tell my kids all the time, don't run in the back of the same color jersey.
Yeah. That's really all it is. How do you signal in plays? Are you a wristband type of guy? Are you just a hand signal? Are you a combination? I'm always curious about that from a defensive perspective.
I was a hand signal guy. Well, I was a hand signal guy in the beginning when I first was a coordinator. Then when I went back to my high school and became the coordinator, I was in the press box because I was coaching secondary. So I called the defense into my head coach, and he would signal it in via hands. I started using wristbands in 2014. I think with what we see spread wise, I think the wristbands have kind of won me over.
Why do you say that?
Because I think it's just easier for me to sit, because I'll give a wristband to both inside linebackers, the middle safety, and the corner away from our sideline, and I'll just signal the number, and then they'll just tell everybody what they're doing. So to me, that's easy. We'll have like 20 numbers on the wristband, and that's really it.
Now, is your wristband saying the whole play? So you only give wristbands to those 4 or 5 guys? Everybody else doesn't have? Okay.
Yep. So basically, why I'm doing that is because it's for me, it's teaching the 2 inside backers to be leaders, and hold those front 4 or front 3 accountable, and then my middle safety controls. He'll be a 3-year starter for me, and he's a captain, so he's like another coach out there anyway. So I could just tell him, he knows I don't even need to put the coverage on there because he knows. So I'm real fortunate. Yeah, I'm fortunate in that sense where he's just very high IQ, and he can kind of steer the car from back there. And he knows that if we're in this front, we're in this coverage, and he knows where to line up. And the younger guys, the JV guys, we'll put the coverage on there for them for a Thursday night game.
That makes sense. Oh, are y'all going to have JVs?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, as of right now, yes. Yeah.
But still, we don't even. I don't even think we're going to have JVs.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Nobody knows what to do, dude. Let's be honest. Everybody's afraid of getting sued. Nobody knows what to do.
My whole thing is, if we were talking about this today, August 17th, we can wear helmets. Like, we can't wear helmets yet.
Okay.
So August 17th, if nothing happens, we can get helmets. My dog, Bella the dog here, wants to be petted. We can get helmets, but we still can't go in the locker room. So what do you do with those helmets after it's done? They haven't told us. Now, when the kids put the helmets on, do they still have to have the face mask around their ears? Or once the helmets come off, can the face mask come? I mean, can the face mask come off? Like, they won't tell us that. If we do start September 8th, we still have to have social distancing in the locker room. But then does it go away the moment we're out on the field and you got 60 kids together? You don't have the 6 feet distance. No one's telling us anything like that, and it's like you said, they're just kicking it down instead of just making a decision.
It's like the referees in the game, right? They just make it up as they go. Coach, holding. What's the number? Oh, it's an interior lineman. Okay, what's his number? I don't know. It's an interior. Oh, okay. Okay. Good. That's really going to help me teach the kid not to hold.
I would rather have that than when they name a number that is not, you don't even have on your roster.
Yeah.
Like 52. Like, dude, we don't even have a 52. What are you talking about? There's no 52 here. And then when you try to bring that up, they just turn around and just walk off, or they threaten you with a flag for unsportsmanship. I want to get to it. You've come out with the new thing for the 4-3, bringing the funk. You talk about how you simplify. That's the beautiful thing about it when we talk, is how you simplify things so that your players know what to do, and you can seem complex to the offense, but you're really simple for the defense. Well, how have you done that? Like, what is something that you've done that you're like, oh, that's nifty, that you don't see other teams doing?
I think showing, being consistent with your look, but also being multiple out of it to the point where the kids understand what they're supposed to do so they can play fast. So a lot of the pressures that I talk about that I learned early on as a player and then obviously implemented as a coach, it gets a lot of guys involved from your secondary to your linebackers, and helps you in a lot of situations, especially with the zone read game the way it is today and the RPO game. And to me, we're going to force your hand. We're going to force the quarterback into making a tough decision. And then also, from our perspective, do you really want to make that throw with those guys back there? But we're going to be simple about it. We're not going to try to overcomplicate things. I think that's where, in the high school game, and especially I think now with a lot of the time we've had off, I think a lot of guys have tried to, they want to learn new things, which is great. I mean, I've done a bunch of Zooms with high school staffs all over the country and, answered questions and things like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's, what does your personnel dictate you to do? Where, how are you going to put your kids in the best position to be successful and understand what they're supposed to do? Because if they're thinking they're not playing fast, and then you're going to give up a touchdown. Yeah. And, so I think, applying pressure, Coach Brown always said to me, when you do pressure, man, you're either feeling it or you're applying it. There's no in between. So like the pressure defense, you can't be halfway with this stuff. You can't be, conservative, because again, your kids it's like an up and down deal, right? It's like, their emotional roller coaster. If they know that you are going to challenge the offense, and it's kind of funny because we have a 3-year starter. Our quarterback is a good kid, and we'll walk out on Monday, and I'll say, hey, Evan, you ready for 7-on-7 today? You ready for team? You sure? Because we got some stuff for you now. Like I just kind of needle him a little bit, just kind of see how mentally tough he is, and kind of get in his head a little bit. And then the guys will walk by him and kind of give him a little bit of business, and it's all in good fun because we want to have good competition, and we want to get better at practice. But I think for the most part is be consistent with your look, because the more moving parts you have, the more mistakes you're going to have. Yeah. Because it's like, well, this splits you line up here, then this splits you line up there. Well, hey, no, that's the boundary now. Now you're going to just line up in something simple, but be complicated and complex in what you do. But don't give your kids 90,000 different alignments and then get mad at them because they don't understand what they're doing.
I agree. And coaches, if you want to see that clinic, in the comments below, put hashtag 43. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. You will see that on the YouTube, but if not on Facebook, if you're watching this on Facebook, put hashtag 43. I will reach out with that link. Okay, I'm a brand new defensive coordinator. What are 2 pieces of advice you would give me that you wish you knew when you were starting out?
It's a good question. I would say don't be afraid to ask for help.
And what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, like, don't assume you know everything. Like, I think, and for a lot of guys, for me, it was pride and ego because, we had been so successful at my high school, and we were kind of the beacon for the short conference. And, I really started learning the game more when we started going on these spring ball visits to Boston College and Virginia. And I'm like, oh, we could do something different. It doesn't have to be this way, and we don't have to run it like that. But don't be afraid to ask for help. You know what I mean? And the second thing is with your personnel, don't dictate to your personnel, have your personnel dictate to you what you're going to do. Like if you're like, that was the biggest thing for me is like, if I don't have 4 down linemen, we can't be an even front. Like I'm not going to force a kid to be a defensive end just because I'm a 4 down guy. Go out and learn. That was one thing. Like I felt like we were getting a little stale with our pressure game. So 2 years ago, we went up to Clemson for 3 days and spent 3 days with their defensive staff and Coach Venables and got some really good stuff.
Yeah. That man's a genius.
You know what I mean? And he was great and welcoming. And that's another thing too. Like if you want to go see a college, Google the athletic staff directory. I can't tell you how many coaches I called as a young coach because I just got on Google and just, the staff directory, let me call, let me get this guy's email. And now it's Twitter and all this stuff. And, it's at the end of the day, like football is football, but from college it's football and it's a business because they never know when they're going to recruit one of your guys. Yeah. So they're going to welcome you. And if they say no, move on to the next guy. Like, don't be afraid to ask. Those are 2 things that, like, for young coaches, like, learn as much as you can. Because if you're not adapting as a defensive coach with the way offenses are changing, you're not going to be real successful.
I agree. Are you a reader? You an avid reader?
Yes.
What's one book you've read over this coronacation that you think everyone should be reading right now?
The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
I've tried. I'm gonna be completely honest. I've tried to read that book like 3 times, and after the 4th page, I'm like, this bores me. Why do you say people should read that?
The guy wrote it in 500 BC, and the lessons that he tried to teach in 500 BC are still adaptable to football today, which to me blows my mind. As far as leadership and listening and taking direction and constructive criticism, and if you want to be successful, It's unbelievable, man. I was funny. I was just reading chapter 2 down at the pool when my son was in the pool. So,
Nice.
I don't know, man. I liked, I'm a history teacher, so I'll read, I'm going to start after I'm done with The Art of War. I'm going to start reading the book on George Washington and Valley Forge. And, I got my 2 books that I think will help out any coach.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, Art of War, Sun Tzu is a beginning of August read every year for me. It is.
Oh, that's an every summer. I hear you, man.
Yep. That's 5th. This will be year 15 reading it in August.
Dang. Okay, I got to ask. You said your history. Have you seen Hamilton?
I have not.
Golly, I was like, you know what? It's a culture phenomenon. It finally came on Disney Plus. I'm just gonna watch it, dude. I'm hooked, man.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. All right, we got another question real quick. What is the hardest concept you have to defend in your defensive structure and why?
Hardest concept to defend? I would say for a high school team, I would say, we actually just had 2 teams on our schedule that were split back veer and triple option. Thankfully, they've gone to spread. So I would say, because again, when you're talking about assignment football and high school kids, you have to be extremely, extremely persistent in what their job is and what their responsibilities are. So the hardest concept for me is the option concept, because it's getting the dive kid to tackle the dive, not to run upfield, the quarterback to get to the court and understand, I don't care if they have the ball or not. Your job is not to look for the ball. Your job is to get to your job and your assignment.
Okay. I agree with that. You have someone that's saying, "What's up?" We don't know who this is. So
what's up?
Sean's Payton twin. Does that let you know? Do you know who that is?
I wish I had his checking account.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that the truth? All right. Well, Coach, if you could just leave us with one thing that you think would help. What's one thing as an offensive coordinator you look at and you're like, why aren't more offensive coordinators doing this?
Man, to be honest with you, if you have an athletic quarterback and you're not running sprint out and giving that guy the run option, you really look at what you're doing. Because I think from a high school perspective, there's not many high school kids that can sit back in the pocket and dual read things. If you cut the field in half and read high to low or low to high, however you want to do it, and give that dude the option to run, I think it's going to make the defensive job a lot harder, because now you're talking about an athletic quarterback out of the pocket, and it depends on who their sprint contain guy is, because he may be able to outrun that guy to the sideline, and then you're in trouble.
Okay. And we found out who that was. That was John. John, hit that StreamYard link up above and give him permission.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you being here. Again, if you want to get his 4-3 simplifying, he talks about bringing the funk and all of that, and actually game planning and simplifying that, in the comments, do hashtag 4-3. I will reach out. I will send you that link. Coach Gibbs, thank you so much for being here, man.
No, man, this is fun. This is good stuff. And I tell everybody, that's not a Zoom background. That's my backyard. That palm tree is real. That's not a Zoom background. Just
rub it in. I've got this misshapen wall back here that I've bumped my head on several times in a day.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, thanks. You have fun going to your pool. I'm gonna go blow up my kid's pool, and then I'll put my feet in it.
Love it, man. I love it.
All right, man. And coaches, hey, thank y'all so much for being here. And until next time, let's continue to master the spread, score points,